what they gave us. It's not griping about that. It's just that that vehicle went out. The free one we got from Silt, we do it. The suspension is bad, but that'll be another great vehicle. It's a Tahoe out in the back. The other vehicles from Sheridan, Fremont County District Attorney's Office, they run like tops.
Those vehicles just being used in town here?
What's that?
Are those vehicles just being used for use around town?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to clarify that. What do you mean?
What I mean, I've been hearing that these vehicles are being driven home by
Absolutely.
the officers.
Absolutely.
Do they live in town here?
No. Our policy specifically states that the chief of police can issue the vehicles or take home vehicles, and that's what
By whose policy now?
our police policy.
Is council aware of that?
Yeah, he said it before.
Yeah, I've been saying it since the beginning. They're better taken care of when one officer drives them. If they,
So there's no limit to how far away they live from Walsenberg?
what I've done from the beginning is they put a tank of gas in of their own money per week. It's better for any of the officers to go park it in their garage at night than to have it sit in this back parking lot. So better taken care of, they're clean. There's no more wear and tear. The idle hours are what hurts the vehicles, not the driving hours. And if they idle in the day, we're at work, but there's no wear and tear. JM has given them all a clean bill of health.
How about the marking of those vehicles? Them being marked as far as, I've had complaints from citizens that the cars running around and they're stopping people and they're unmarked.
There's no state
It's
statute that says I have to have them marked. I will have them marked, but we don't pay the budget right now. State statute says that we can have unmarked police vehicles. So.
Which was a conversation that was brought up at the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry I couldn't make that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like that topic did.
And I had one more question here about the insurance coverage by CIRSA or whatever. With them using vehicles off the clock. Are they considered off the clock when they're taking them home?
When they're in the police vehicle. Yeah, they're not getting paid for the drive, but CIRSA covers it. They cover for everything in the state.
Okay, just so it's been. I don't want to see.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. That's questions I had to ask.
Anybody else?
Do we have, they're set up on a maintenance schedule now?
100%. I just went in, I drive the white unmarked one. Just went in for an oil change. Has 141,000 miles on it. There's one thing wrong with the vehicle. Not even the car. Bought that for 5,000 from Fremont County.
Are they Interceptor cars?
Yeah.
And they're doing a schedule on the transfer case of that? Hopefully.
Yeah, what,
I know.
like, I mean, I
Issue.
don't know JM like you guys do because I'm not from here, but it's not an in and out thing. Like, I was gone for 2 hours and I had an appointment time. So I'm going to assume when I went to pick it up, he said clean bill of health. There's no, I would assume that they're looking at that. But I would, even if I stood there, Mr. Jennings, I wouldn't know what they were looking at. So.
And I think we should look at a contract for our maintenance
I
schedule,
was gonna bring that up, absolutely.
because we haven't had a contract on any of our maintenance.
Well, the one we had, nobody honored it, so.
Yeah. So I think we need to bring that up in a future meeting. But I have no questions. Thank you.
The number 4, we have some red tags being printed at the printer. The only way to keep the city pretty is we're gonna have to start red tagging some of these abandoned vehicles that are on city streets. It'll be a 72-hour red tag, and then we'll end up towing it. We're not gonna tow an exorbitant amount to start with, but we're not gonna be able to make the city look like you guys as residents want it to look if we just continue to let the abandoned vehicles sit on the side of the streets. When I say abandoned, license plates are expired more than 6 months. Cars that have wheels and tires taken off them and broken out windows. Again, it'll be on body camera. It'll be a red tag. I was gonna bring the part of an example, but it's about this big. Normally they're sticky and they would go on a driver's side window, so you can't miss it. These will go underneath the windshield wiper, but it'll be on body camera. We'll document it, which vehicles, and we'll start one part of the city. And when we get that, it'll be up to the owner, whatever we get charged for a tow. That'll be what they have to pay, plus a $50 processing fee for our admin staff to process that, and it'll be $10 a day storage. So if they want their vehicle back, and maybe they won't park if they're abandoned on a city street after a few of them get towed.
And will those tows be rotated between all of the towing companies in town?
We can do a rotational tow. I don't have any issues with that at all.
I mean, if they want to tow, I guess.
Right.
Thank you for doing that.
You bet.
Well overdue. Will that also, since you oversee code enforcement, which I brought up in the meet and greet as well, will we start taking homes as well?
Say that.
You start taking houses that have trash and mattresses and debris and I don't.
Ma'am. So I instructed both, the CSOs, even officers that are out there, to make contact if the house is inhabited. If it's not, go to the assessor's office, try to get who the owner is. We found a person, Mr. Rizal, did the research. The guy, his new address is the river in Pueblo. So I'm not sure how we would contact him. It's pretty long through the city of Pueblo. But we will do our due diligence, send him the notices and to whatever legit address we have. And then I guess my question to you as the council,
How do you register a property with the river?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, but that's what he showed me. It's river. I'm gonna have a hard, well, not a hard conversation, but a conversation with the city attorney and our judge, that he's gonna have to start putting liens on these properties if we want the city to look the way you as residents want it to look. And we'll have to do our due diligence as the law enforcement agency. And maybe the city ends up cleaning the property up with putting the lien on the property and dispose whatever refuse that, is at the property, the way the city sees fit, landfill or whatever. And then I don't know any other way around it, ma'am.
Okay.
But we're doing our part.
The difficult part there is the human error in determining which one's bad and which one's good. That's what we run into as well. You picking on me and my neighbor's just as bad. I mean, that's going to be a problem.
Well, we have to have a starting point, Mr. Mayor, and
Yeah.
we're gonna make that determination of where our starting point is as far as the abandoned vehicles. Like we might take Fifth Street to start, just for an example. And
As long as we got an explanation so we can explain why we did that and why we went there, and because I know what's going to come.
I don't disagree with you.
Maybe we put out a advertise a notice that, we're gonna start begin enforcement on this street beginning on this day.
You have a mattress in your yard.
Yeah, I can just,
I said, if you have a mattress in your yard, if you have trash in your yard, if you can't even see the yard, I think it's pretty obvious what needs to be done. I don't think that's a real judgment call.
I can give Mr. Colander, and he can put it on the police department, part of the city website about the abandoned vehicles thing. I thought the tags would have been printed by now, but they had a delay in the card stock, so it's another week out. I put on here, but we probably start enforcing it the day we get we ordered 500 red tags.
I mean, I see a lot of people that put stuff on the curb and put I always say the F word, but free on it. And then it sits there and it sits there and it sits there and it weathers. And it's like, okay, I appreciate you putting it there for free, but if no one's picking it up, move it out, people.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay.
Moving on. Citizens' comments. Quickly, you got first.
Good evening. As Mr. Martinez knows and some other people that we had a meeting 6 nights ago in here on the on zoning. But what surfaced in that was a paper document, a rolled up plan that was apparently the official zoning map. And it was brought in last minute and shared with the Planning and Zoning Commission. The scary thing about that is that this one that has been on the website for 6 years that I know of and has been relied upon by me, makes me feel a little bit foolish because we found out that it is not accurate and is not, well, can result in a lot of error if you were like me doing some projects and talking to people from outside the county and asserting that there was certain zoning in certain locations. So what I'm respectfully requesting is that since there is only one zoning map on the city website, can we get the official one or the accurate one, or probably it's something, and Casey would know better about this, it's probably a higher resolution digitized version. But anyway, that's my request, that we update this map and make it accurate. So, and I'm here also for the public hearing.
Okay.
Casey Decker. It's so weird, I've got on this voice on the screen up there. Actually had to work my work schedule around this. Stacy Decker, DECKER. Water, I'm encouraging the mayor and council again from the consideration to sell water from within our system. This year again is looking like more of a drought year. We're down to 73% in the Arkansas Valley district right now, and it's not looking any better. Even 50.01 inches of rain you might have received today, depending on where you're at. The request that was submitted, the substitute water supply plan to the Department of Water Regulations to add 6 new water haul locations in and around the city water infrastructure seems out of line with, yes, we do have water rights. We don't have the water because we're in a drought situation. And if you look at the mountains even right now, it's not looking pretty already. Usually we would have stuff going. I mean, I remember as a kid, we'd go back to June, Pikes Peak would still have snow on it. So we gotta worry about this stuff. If anything, the city should be encouraging every citizen, any house in the area to have a 50-gallon drum to save up some water if you want to water your gardens and stuff like that, because it's not looking pretty this year. I would also request that the city start working on the process to put us in a stage 1 water restrictions. I know we have to go through a process for that. We should start it now, especially if people are kicking off their gardens. Nobody should be watering between 10 and 4 during the day, especially when we're already hitting 80 degrees in April. One thing for the chief on the police cruisers fleet upgrades, if we can stagger that kind of a thing out, I'd appreciate it. If we stagger that kind of a thing out, I'd appreciate it. If any upgrades we do for the police cruisers and stuff like that, stagger it over the year so we can stage it. But also the fact that there were no bikes requested. I was a little surprised that we don't have any bicycles requested for the. I was just gonna say, it'd be nice if we had, maybe we can have a couple of bikes for the guys. And I also was requested to mention maybe nice to have them walking around town occasionally.
And they do
Yeah,
that,
cool.
but
cool.
not as much as they probably
Yeah,
should.
that was one request that
And when you say staggered the vehicles, are you talking about the purchases?
Yeah, the purchases and the fixes. Yeah, just stagger them out throughout the year, just because that was a big hit for one moment. And then another thing on the photo radar, I encourage it. Can we get the statistics on zip code of who was speeding from where? So
That'd be on the ticket.
well, I'm talking about, can we get a report?
Well, that would be up to this guy.
Okay, we'll report each month that shows the number of zip codes and how far away people are coming from. That would be my request. That way we can show a report how many speeders we're capturing in our area, because locals don't do it as much.
What if it's 81089?
If it's 80189, I mean, hey, but I would see statistically wise, my hope would be that we do it a lot less. Again, encouragements on.
I live on Kansas.
Yeah, there's some on Spruce. Thank you very much. You helped out on that. But yeah, the water thing is getting.
Okay. Wrap it up. Thank you.
Brian, a lender? I don't know if any of you guys know, but, May is National History Month every year. And Historic Preservation's been working really hard, and Gay will be here at your next meeting explaining what they've been doing. I look forward to hearing that. But during this process, working with Gay, looking at all the things of the Walsenberg's history going back from its inception to today, lining up how the built environment grew in relation to the decisions that were made through ordinances. I've noticed something. And then in my personal life, in my spiritual journey, I've been noticing something. That we repeat things in cycles. And I'm really, really concerned that we're at that point of 2005 to 2010, where we were struggling to make proper decisions about water, where we were struggling to find the right staffing levels, where we were struggling with not having the financials and not even being able to do a budget during audit during one of those years. I'm concerned that we're at that place again. And so I'm asking you, make financials a #1 priority. We know that the budget that you adopted is wrong. It doesn't have any capital improvements for his needs. Please make these priorities a plan this year. And please, man, let's not make the same mistakes that got us into messes in the past. Thanks.
Brian?
Laura.
Carmen Lara, Lara. I agree with Mr. Becker and with Mr. Hollander. I think we're looking at a drought again, and I've already mentioned that I don't think you should be so gung-ho to sell water, because I think we're going to be in trouble. I don't know about stage 1 already, but did you already initiate kiosks for water haul? Are those already being planned?
This is the first time I've heard this.
I have never heard that.
If you want an answer, we had to come up with justification to move the water. The water court requires that you have some kind of reason for why you want to move this water. The reason is augmentation. So they listed water hall, Northlands, et cetera, and that was part of the application. If not, you can't move the water. You got to have a reason why you're moving it.
Okay, I have this huge problem because I keep bringing this up. You don't know how much money you have. This is the first part of it. You don't know what you're spending. You don't know how much money you have. And yet you're spending money like crazy. You spent $2 million already. December, January, February, March, $2 million. And that doesn't include salaries or anything. Whoever's making all these decisions, you don't have the right to make these kind of decisions. Council does. All 7 of you are supposed to make the decisions on what to do. You don't just go out and say, well, we're going to do this. It's not supposed to happen that way. You need to follow the rules. Okay. You are in a position of authority. You are responsible for an entire city. Decisions you make affect the city and its citizens. In order to make effective decisions, you must be willing to learn and follow the laws. Okay. So you have to follow the laws of the city and of the state of Colorado. Okay, there seems to be a lot of people making decisions on what they're going to do, and council's out of the picture. Council is the main group that should be making decisions like this. So I don't understand how this keeps happening. You talked about kiosks or whatever you want to call them, the water hall little things. You can't go out and say we're going to do this. Council has to say that because that costs money. Contracts, all contracts need to come to council. Here I see in Mr. Harriman's report and other reports, all these contracts being signed. I never saw them come to council. There are so many things that aren't coming to council that need to come to council. So Mr. Hyatt, I wish you would get on their case because they need to pay at 102, 103, 104, and 105.
Next.
Kevin Shepherd on Zoom.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Let's
Spell
see
your name,
here.
please.
My name's Kevin Shepherd. I'm the skate park liaison. I want to stress the urgency of moving forward with the skate park project that's already planned and designed. The kids in our community love skateboarding and need a dedicated space. Without it, they're left without positive outlet and may turn to negative activities. When cities invest in skate parks, they see reduced drug use and increased engagement in healthy activities and lifestyles. Right now, our youth are at risk because they don't have a safe place to practice what they love. Providing a skate park can help steer them away from harmful behaviors and give them a sense of belonging and purpose. I urge the council to act on the existing plans. The diorama is in the pool office and prioritize the skate park. It's not just an investment in infrastructure, it's an investment in our youth's future and an overall health of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Cynthia Creswell
Skate park.
on Zoom.
Good evening, council members and mayor. Cynthia Cresswell, CRESSWELL. I've got 3 questions. The first 2 are fairly simple. The first one is a clarification, please. There seems to be some misunderstanding within the community. Is our PD available now 24/7 or not? Because there seems to be confusion. Somebody had an issue the other day and they were told that the PD is not working 24/7. So I just wanted to clarify on Zoom.
Yes,
Okay,
24/7. It started last week, I believe.
April 1st.
First,
It was
okay.
after the first.
Was it April 1?
It was last Sunday, whatever it's last Sunday was.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
The second one is also an easy one. Prior to any abandoned vehicles being towed or houses being red tagged, also, for littering, junk buildup or whatever. Just to be safe for legalities, there needs to be a notice prior to, not just go out and tag a car and say you've got 72 hours notice. Put something on the website, put something on the back of the bills, since that's what the city likes to do, letting residents know effective this date, we will begin red tagging abandoned vehicles, they will be towed, yada, yada. Cover your butts so that there's no recourse to come back at you with that. And that's for PD and for council. My third question, and I know it's been asked by several of us over the years. I don't know how many people watched the Aguilar emergency meeting that they had the other day, where they had their auditor show all the audit findings and the actions that needed to be taken. In the 3 years I've been here, we've never gotten a report like that on any of the audits that have been done on the city. So my question is why, and can we look forward to having those type of audit reports so that the general populace knows what the actual findings were? We don't want to wind up like Aguilar, but right now we're headed down that road.
Thank you. Next.
There's a JDB.
No answer. Okay.
I'm gonna need your name.
You can call me Jay.
No, we're not gonna call you Jay. We need to have your name,
Listen, I have.
your first name and your last name spelled
My
out.
person's papers in effects. Ask your attorney. He understands the 4th Amendment. I have the right to speak. It's a public meeting.
It's in the policy.
I thought we had policy.
Mr. Hyatt, do you respond to that?
speak.
We'll let you speak.
Thank you. Mayor, council, city administrator. I want to make you all aware of a situation involving the police department and the attorney sitting next to the city administrator. Recently, the city attorney here was notified of an incident involving 2 sergeants, Sergeant Everhart, Sergeant Federhoff, along with Cheryl Hurt and Lieutenant Perry, along with the chief of police. They were CC'd in emails. Right now, as it stands, you have these officers, Sergeant Everhart was blinding a person's camera with his flashlight on a traffic stop, which is a violation of 16.3.311 of the Colorado Revised Statute. Also, that is called prior restraint. And in the 10th Circuit Court, Irizarry versus Yahia, that's a violation of the law. And that specifically deals with shining flashlights into the camera of a person recording a police officer in the course of his duty. Also, we have Cheryl Hurt telling people, members of the public, that they can't record in town hall or the police station. Again, another violation of CRS 16.3.311, where we have the ability to record in a public space. This seems to be an ongoing issue with these people. Also, I ordered body camera footage. They sent body camera footage to another person, 3 different body cameras. You have sergeants, both of them, muting body cameras, which is a violation of 24-31-902-1A, tampering with body cameras. These things should be addressed by this council, by this mayor, and by the city administrator, because clearly the attorney sitting next to the administrator doesn't want to deal with it. These also have been sent to the DA of Wolfenbüttel County so he can go forward and look at it. And they were also sent to the Attorney General of the state of Colorado. Right now, based off of the issues with Sergeant Everhart, based off of the actions of Lieutenant Perry, who decided that he wanted to block somebody's camera on a traffic stop, we have right there alone possible civil rights violations based off of the 10th Circuit ruling. I think somebody should address this issue. Also, they should be releasing the body camera footage, because once they released it to that gentleman that placed the request in March and they gave him the links via email, they opened up the floodgates, and the attorney knows that. So that means that anybody else that ordered body camera footage, they would have to release that body camera footage via email. They can't discriminate. It's called viewpoint discrimination. Again, another lawsuit. These issues should be addressed by this council and mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The attorney, the administrator, and the chief are all here. I'm sure they'll take that under advisement. Next.
Dime Sandoval.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Dime Sandoval, DEEMAES-SANDOVAL. I would like to say welcome to the woman that is sitting next to the Deputy City Clerk Colander. Not sure who you are. I would imagine the new city admin assistant. So welcome to you. I hope things go well for you and your job.
Thank you.
I would like to say kudos to Chief Benelli for being proactive. I hope council lets him have the autonomy to run his department as he sees fit, as long as it's within the law and a common sense approach. Sounds to me like he's trying to do some things to clean up the city. I know the gentleman just spoke in opposition to him. I don't know about any of those things, so I can't speak to that. Few questions. Where is the rent contract for the city ranch house? Where is council on that? Are they still doing renovations?
Mr. Stillwell, can we look into that?
Yes, I will.
Well, it's about this time of year. We lease both the ranch and the
Correct. Yeah, I'll pull that up.
possibly
Okay.
the auto mechanics place too, I think it's.
Yes, I was going through those Monday and I did not, of course, I may have been in the wrong section of the G drive, but I did not find it, the current one. So that's what I'm trying to find right now.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I noticed animal control is no longer reporting on any revenue donations under their report. Is there a reason for that?
We probably don't have a finance officer, so I don't know what's going on. We're getting close to getting one.
Yes,
Okay.
We have 4 candidates currently. I'm waiting on one more interview. And then hopefully move forward with a qualified candidate.
For animal control?
No, for finance director.
Oh,
Well,
okay. I was just saying that on the animal control report, they're no longer reporting any revenue or donations.
Yeah,
They were doing that.
They would be collected here in the office, so it's gonna be quite hard without a finance. We don't even have any kind of a financial report. They possibly could. We can ask them what they
Okay.
anticipated, I guess, but
I guess I'm not making my point clear. Whoever prepared the animal control report was stating the donations that they were receiving and the revenue that was
Okay.
coming in. So just an FYI.
we'll ask to
Computer-
put them back.
Okay, thank you. I've asked that twice. Computer kernel, no
Yeah, the
longer
next-
needing, no longer
the-
needing additional pay. Computer kernel, since he was helping with Cassell, that goes away, right?
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, did you hear anything on the golf course financials?
I sent him a text that we need to have them in May. I think what the contract says May. So we
Okay,
should get them the first of the month.
and then my last comment, any updates on when we're gonna be able to start zooming into the housing authority meetings?
I have no idea. I haven't, I dropped the ball on that one. I'll have to ask Jackie and, if they have that capability or have the meetings here.
Okay,
I haven't pursued that. I'm sorry.
okay, and what about Martra?
I can ask.
Oh, Nick, you want to comment?
No, I'll ask
You'll
Jackie.
I
Nick will
appreciate
ask.
that.
Nick's on
Okay,
that board. He'll ask.
I will take
Any
care of
update
it.
on Martra? And the money that they owe?
They're trying to sell it, and we had an email from Mr. Hyatt. Still up in there. You want to comment on it, or can we yet? Sounds like a no.
No,
I
okay,
think some things will be made public here before long, but I'm not at liberty to talk about it.
They're
okay,
wanting to do something, sell it, and we just don't know yet.
okay, and then last but not least, just because I've seen it in other communities, where people are already out there stating that they are going to rerun for office, how's Walsenberg going to handle that for the 2025 election?
We take out petitions when, Rick?
Hey, August 5th.
August
Oh, that
5th?
late?
That's when they pick up the petitions. They have to have the petitions back to me by August 25th.
Okay, and will there be any notification in the local paper or on the website that it's election year?
I guess I can do that.
I just think it would be wise.
We should advertise and let people know that a deadline is August 5th, whatever it is, and the petitions are available here. I would think we should do that a month before August 5th is our due August 5th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rick, can you take care of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I let you go over because we took your time talking about something else, so.
I appreciate that.
All right. Next,
Robert Ellsworth.
Mr. Ellsworth.
Good evening, everybody. Ellsworth, Ellsworth. With everybody else's questions, mine's gonna look pretty lame, but on the website, when you look at city
Okay.
council meeting, it states 7 o'clock. Then you click on that and you go in there and it states this council meeting will start at 7 o'clock, end at 10 o'clock. You guys need to take a look and get the right times on there. So I was gonna sit back and listen tonight. When I was trying to log on, I noticed that there was some wrong times for this meeting tonight. So there may
That's
be,
on the web, that's on the website?
oh yeah, I just looked again.
Oh,
Walsenberg.
okay. No, that's fine. It probably does. I know our agenda says 6. I was curious.
My fault if I did that, so
All right.
I'll make sure that I
We'll fix that.
get out.
Probably central time.
7 o'clock summer.
Have a good evening. Thanks.
Thanks. Anybody else?
Oh, yeah, we got Carol McCaskey.
You got it right.
Thank
Good
you.
for you. McCaskey, Mecaskey. I want to say two good things. Number one, I want to thank the chief of police for everything he's doing to get things up and running for the city. I really think it's a good thing, and I'm glad to see it happening. And the second one is I wanted to comment on Civic Center Park. Both of them. First thing I noticed was they repainted the signs of the wrought iron sign that says Civic Center Park, and it looks so nice. And then the park crew was out there and they leveled and cleaned the whole thing where the playground is, and it looks so nice. And thank you guys to the Park Service for what they've done for those two parks. And that's all I have to say.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
You do have Kevin Shepherd one more time.
Okay.
Kevin Shepherd? Unless he didn't take his hand down.
He just didn't take his hand down.
Okay.
I think once is enough anyway.
All right. That's it, sir.
So, just real quick, speaking of him,
Go ahead.
what state skate park active plan? I didn't know what he was talking about.
The
I mean, is there a plan?
Park and Rec built that skate thing.
But that's what I'm saying, like, so that's nothing active going on. Like, I didn't,
I've never seen anybody use it. It broke.
but I'm saying we don't have a plan right now that we're working on.
No.
Okay, that's what I was kind of confused on. Thank you.
I think the Park and Rec's supposed to take care of that anyway. They're the ones that built it.
Okay.
We give them permission to put it in there, but that's how that was done.
No, I don't think so. You're talking about it.
Which one you think, Park?
I'm just saying what he's talking about. He's in an active park plan.
We did that.
Because we had.
Yeah, we did.
I was on Park and Rec when they did.
And
it.
I
were on
poured
council.
concrete out there. When I was on.
Which one?
council. The one on Seventh Street where
Yeah.
the sports are.
Charles Bryant and
Yeah.
his wife.
Yeah, they were
They
part
got
of
money,
us.
they got money from Park and Rec.
Yeah.
To build that.
It was.
So
part
is
of
it ours or it isn't
because
there?
We had,
It's ours.
it's ours.
Park and Rec paid to build it.
They donated money
Right.
for it, yeah.
Okay.
But it's our park. We have upkeep of it.
We'll check with Mr. Bustos, find out.
Yep.
What's going on there. I know it needs some repair.
We'll get an evaluation done.
And he was saying an active skate park plan. I'm like, I don't know what.
No, we don't.
Okay,
It's been years.
Yeah, it's been a long
There's
year.
one I am not aware of.
okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
Brian?
You guys remember when the Charles thing and all of that, but there was a phase two that you never went forward, and at one period of time, I saw that stuff floating around. He may be referring to the phase two that you guys never carried forward. Ago.
So I've been here almost 4 years and that phase has never been brought forward here, even when.
Oh, it hasn't.
No, because the city council decided not to do it way back then, and you never had the financials to do it since I was
Money.
there.
I think we gotta fix the pool first.
Yeah.
Mayor Vasani, this is Dee. May I just ask one thing for clarification on the water? Because you have stated,
You're setting the precedence. How can I let you speak twice?
because you let Brian speak twice, you let, who else went before him? So I'm not setting a precedent.
Precedent.
Yeah, so I didn't set any precedent, so thank you. But seriously, will you speak to the water issue? Because it's very confusing, because you have said all along that we have plenty of water, and to hear Mr. Decker speak tonight, Walsenberg's going to be in a drought. So what is the bottom line on that?
I will address that under mayor's comments, if that's
Okay.
fine. Let's get through
Thank
this.
you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Oh,
Good. Mr. Sarpy. 10 minutes. I only heard your thing once, so.
My pleasure to be here. Russell Sarpy, SARPY, owner, Emerging Enforcement Solutions. I was asked by Chief Vanelli to attend this council meeting because you guys have some additional questions and was wondering when the system was going to get kicked off. So I'm here today to kind of answer some questions and to kind of give you an outline of basically how things work. Typically, you have to get your ordinance final adoption. Once it's adopted, it goes to a 30-day warning period before active enforcement can be kicked off. So we're doing the final adoption, and during the 30-day warning period, we try to get our agreement executed by the municipal government, binding us to the agreement for the deliverables. And then we start scheduling training with the police chief and setting up equipment, the docking station, and getting it done and everything operational for him. So I don't know where you guys are. Have you adopted an ordinance? Have you?
I wasn't under the impression we had to adopt an ordinance. I thought we could just sign a contract.
No, sir. Colorado law regulates or mandates that you have to have an ordinance adopted.
And all the council understand that we're gonna do this? They're in favor of it? Huh? So Mr. Hyde, can we do the ordinance?
Yeah, I'll put it down and get it done.
And I provided a go by. I don't know if you have it, but Chief Vanelli has it, an active go by that you can use that would probably streamline the process for that.
Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna do it. We'll start it rolling. I think we voted to do it, so.
Awesome.
Because what I understand, it was kind of no charge. You take a little bit if you do the billing, that kind of thing.
Yes, sir. And I heard y'all talk about Casale and stuff like that today. So we've worked out, and I don't know if it's the same Casale software system or not. It is the same. So we've been able to revamp the system using Casale and Express Bill Pay, making that process better when you use Express Bill Pay, that no camera citations can be paid on your existing Express Bill Pay systems. And so you're going to have a better user experience altogether with the Express system, the Express Bill Pay system. And there may be some new accounts that need to be set up in agreements with Express Bill Pay, but that all comes into play once we get the final ordinance adoption. We'll start sending over the agreements and everything that needs to be set up. And like I was telling Chief Vanelli, we're not going to let you guys prematurely go do active enforcement, right? Like, we only make money when you start doing active enforcement, but we're not going to incentivize to do active enforcement if the system isn't properly set up with your website, with the Express Bill Pay. We're here for longevity with you guys. We're gonna monitor that and make sure everything is set up properly before we go live.
But we can collect fees other ways, cash, check.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We'll have an orientation with the police department, the police clerk, and probably somebody within the finance department at the city, because all of these monies that are collected are going to be going into the general fund, from my understanding of the way that every other systems are being set up.
What I'd like to do too is with Express Bill Pay, we pay that 4%. I'd like to add that to the ticket. If
They will do that. That is a setup.
they do that,
Well, Express Bill Pay doesn't pay it, the violator pays it. So it's passed on to the violator instead of but you have to set up your accounts accordingly. And we do tell this to Express Bill Pay. So again, once that final ordinance is adopted, is the trigger for us to get involved, start setting up the accounts the way they're supposed to be set up before we start active enforcement.
Does that have to be written into that ordinance?
That would be an attorney question for you guys to have a conversation with him on how that to be set up. But the go by ordinance that I'm going to be providing from Hudson is probably got that language in there that you're asking about. But that would be a legal question for your city attorney.
okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
I think it's a goal, so.
Yes, sir.
It takes us like 2 months to get an ordinance done, you know that.
Sir. I got you on my list. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Done that in 4 minutes. Record.
It is.
Thank you. Public hearing. I adjourn this meeting and start a public hearing, Mr. Hyatt.
Just need to call the hearing to order.
Just call this hearing to order. I don't have to count. Okay. This is city council rezoning hearing. Recommendation of Venture 6171 rezoning application. I am Gary Vazani, Mayor of the City of Walsenberg. City council members present tonight are Veronica Mays, Don Martinez, Ronald Stafford, Vazani, Fred Ecker, Nick V. Hill, and Rick Jennings. The applicant, Venture 6171 LLC, refers to its attorney, Claire N. Havelda of Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck LLP. Is Ms. Havelda present?
I am, sir.
Thank you. L&M LLC, the co-applicant. L&M LLC appears through its owner, Blair Stutzman. Is Mr. Stutzman present?
I am.
Okay, thank you, Blair. Also appearing is Daniel R. Hyatt, city attorney for the city of Walsenberg. Applicants filed a zone designation application form with the city council. The applicants also filed a Northland zoning map amendment number 1 with the city council. Under Walsenberg Municipal Code, section 16-3-370, paren B, the city council is required to adopt or deny a rezoning application after receiving a report and recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission. On March 27, 2025, public notice of this hearing was published in the city's legal newspaper, the World Journal, one time or approximately 19 days prior to the hearing. The applicant timely posted a notice of public hearing on the property, sent out major activity notices, notice to adjacent surface owners, and mineral rights owners. It appears that sufficient notice of this hearing has been provided to the public so that the hearing may proceed. The city council must make a determination in the form of an ordinance approving or denying the proposed amendment to the city of Walsenburg zoning map. Mr. Hyatt, will you please advise the city council on the standards it must apply to approve an application for rezoning?
Yes, thank you. The purpose of this rezoning hearing is to assist the city council in determining if the rezoning is in accordance with the intent, standards, and criteria specified in Chapter 16 of the Walsenburg Municipal Code and with the City of Walsenburg's comprehensive plan. Under the Walsenburg Municipal Code, Section 16-3-320, rezoning is allowed only if the applicant demonstrates that revision of the zoning map is both necessary and desirable, and that the proposed zoning revision will not have an adverse impact on existing land use in the city. To approve the rezoning, the city council must find that at least one of the circumstances set forth below exists. 1, land to be rezoned was zoned in error and as presently zoned is inconsistent with the policies and goals of the comprehensive plan. Or 2, the area for which rezoning is requested has changed or is changing to such a degree that it is in the public interest to encourage a redevelopment of the area or a new approach to development. 3, the proposed rezoning is necessary in order to provide land for community-related use, which was not anticipated at the time of the adoption of the comprehensive plan, and such rezoning will be consistent with the policies and goals of the comprehensive plan. Or 4, the area for which rezoning is requested has unusual and particular suitability to a certain use not permitted under its present zoning classification. As you consider these standards, you should review the following. 1, whether the proposed zoning would be a logical extension of the zoning boundary and whether it would improve the pattern of land development in the area and conform to the comprehensive plan. 2, whether the proposed rezoning is a spot zoning, generally unrelated to either existing or adjacent zoning, or the pattern of development in the area, or contrary to the intent of the comprehensive plan. 3, whether granting the request would extend to the applicant development rights denied to others in the same area. 4, whether the proposed use would bring about increased traffic on minor streets, causing congestion, traffic hazards, and noise, or create substantial adverse effects for legally established neighboring uses. 5, whether the proposed rezoning would permit uses which would overload both existing public facilities and those proposed in the comprehensive plan. And finally, 6, whether the property as presently zoned is inconsistent with the goals and policies and is not zoned in the public interest, and the comprehensive plan is therefore rezoned in error.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. The city council will use the following procedure during this hearing. I will give the oath to all those who desire to testify during the hearing. After the oath is given, the applicant will be allowed to present testimony and evidence relevant to the rezoning. After the applicant witness has presented testimony, the council members may examine the witness, then the city attorney. Public testimony. After all the applicant's witnesses have completed their testimony, members of the public may give testimony. The testimony should be in the form of statements, not questions, and be relevant to the rezoning application. Each witness may give testimony one time. After a member of the public has given testimony, the applicant may examine the witness, then the city council, and then the city attorney. Closing of public hearing. After all witnesses have given testimony, I will close the public hearing and the city council will start the making process. Mr. Hyatt, do you have any exhibits to admit?
Mayor, I move for the admission of the following exhibits. One, a cover letter dated February 28, 2025. Two, zone designation procedure and application. Three, Northland zoning map amendment number 1. 4, the legal description rezoning to C-1. 5, the cover letter for major activity notice dated March 31, 2025. 6, Appendix C, major activity notice. 7, certified mail receipts for surface owner notices. 8, certified mail receipts for mineral right owners notices. 9, publisher's affidavit of public notice of hearing and photos of public notice of hearing posted on the property to be rezoned. 10, Venture 6171 Limited Liability Company rezoning application narrative as updated. 11, Planning Commission Resolution number 2025 RPZ. 14, proof of delivery of notice to mineral interest owners. 15, proof of delivery of notice to adjacent property owners.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. Ms. Savelda, do you have any objections to the admission of these exhibits?
No, we would ask that they be admitted.
Thank you. Do you have any exhibits you wish to add at this time?
No, I believe that that covers it, though I do have a slide deck that once I go through, I would offer into evidence also.
Is that okay to do that way, Mr. Hyatt?
And I'm happy to offer it now if that's easier.
It makes no difference. I let her go ahead and do it and then offer to have it admitted.
Let's do it now. Go ahead.
Okay, then I think I heard correctly. I would just offer the slide deck. We emailed it, and then I believe we also sent you printed copies. You should have packets in front of you. And I can share my screen with it as well, if that's helpful.
The council has packets in front of us, yes.
So then I would offer the packet into evidence. I think it's more demonstrative in nature, but it helps orient council to the land that we're talking about.
Mr. Hyatt, can you admit that as the exhibit, this packet?
Let's mark those exhibits as A. Is it A?
Is it A? Okay. The exhibits are entered as marked.
Quick, Mr. Hyatt, how many exhibits did you have?
15.
So in the packet, there's only 11, and some of them are duplicates. So I'm not sure that I have the same exhibits that you have.
I think the problem is that 14 and 15 are duplicates. So
There's a few of them in here. There's 11 on the agenda, and I think 2 of those 2 sets are duplicates.
Yeah, 14 and 15 are duplicates of items mentioned above. So just go ahead and strike those.
We don't even have 13, 14, or 15 on.
Sorry.
There's not even 13, 14, 12, 13, 14, or 15 are not on here.
It goes.
There's 1 through 11.
11,
And
1 through
2
11.
sets are duplicates that I can.
Yeah, 12 is missing, 14 should be stricken, and 15 should be stricken because they're duplicates. Okay, well, there are certified mail receipts. 7 and 8.
I don't have all the exhibits.
I don't have 12.
They're not here.
Oh, 12, it goes from 11 to 14 for some reason.
10 and 15 is the delivery to the mineral. And
The legal description is,
they're in the exhibits.
the legal description is 2 different exhibits.
Oh, those are the exhibits.
Mr. Hyatt, you want to address this?
I only have 11 exhibits in my pack.
11?
So we should have 1 through 11.
What I've got here.
And then 14 and 15 should be stricken because do you have for 14 and 15? Right.
I have 1 through 11 and 2 sets of, one of those exhibits are duplicates.
Well, 14, 15 is a proof of delivery and 15 is
At 14.
delivery, and that is actually a duplicate of 7 and 8.
You look at 7 and 8. Veronica, you're gonna see that they're the same as 14 and 15. I don't know why.
So we
Don't have
just
14.
strike 14 and 15 from
That's what I did.
Exhibit 7 and 8.
Right.
Is on here. You got that one, right?
Yeah.
There's a 7, there's an 8.
You open those up, you'll find out that those aren't the actual things that he's talking about that he's got listed as 14 and 15. So
one's the certified mail receipt, the other was proof of delivery.
Yeah.
I guess certified mail.
I'm not sure, how that happened, but
It would have been a lot easier if they were actually named
Yeah.
the exhibit number, but
Do you believe we can proceed?
Yeah.
Okay,
I do too.
we good? Veronica?
Yep.
I don't have all of them, but whatever.
All right.
no, you have 11.
I have 11, but 2 different ones are duplicates. That's what I'm saying. The rezoning, legal description, there's 2 of those that are duplicates.
There are only 11. So
There are 11, but the legal description rezoning, they're duplicates. I don't know what numbers they are because I have them all open and these, I don't know. Proceed. If they would have been named the exhibit number when I open them, it would make more sense, but.
Do I have to entertain any kind of a,
I think we've stricken 14 and 15. There was no 12. 14 and 15 are obviously typos.
so no,
Exhibits.
okay. So the exhibits are complete and approved?
And then you have exhibit A.
Savelda, you agree?
I believe so. I just want to ensure that all of the exhibits related to notice, the surface owners, the mineral owners, the newspaper, and the posted notice are all there before council.
I can't say yes.
Okay, then yes, I would agree that you have everything you need.
They're showed as mailed, so, okay.
So what if there's an error on the application? There's an address error on the application.
Can we postpone that question until we get to the
Sure.
testimony? And you can ask,
Okay. Got it.
making a presentation about that particular error.
Okay, we'll move on. At this time, I will administer the oath to each person who may testify at the hearing. If you think you may testify, please take the oath. If you take the oath, you're not obligated to testify. Will each person who may testify at the hearing stand and raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear to affirm that the testimony you give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of the law?
You do.
Thank you. Ms. Savelda, are you ready to proceed?
I am, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to share my screen with our presentation if that's acceptable. So we are here this evening on a rezoning application. The mayor introduced me, and just to remind everyone, this is our team. We have the owners of Venture 6171, Dwayne Olguin, Blair Stutzman. We are joined by our consultant, Brian Lalander, who you all are familiar with. And our civil engineer is also available on the phone, Eric Dellinger. As we described to the Planning Commission and as is described in the narrative, what we are really here to do is clean up some erroneous zoning. So we fall under Walsenberg Municipal Code Section 16.3-320B1. We brought the subdivision plat before the planning commission and had that cleaned up and finalized. I believe it was at the 27th hearing, and they recommended approval of what I'm calling the cleanup zoning for this area also. So what happened is the zoning as it exists is dual zoning. So you have land that is owned by Venture 6171 that is zoned both C1 and I believe it's A1. And that is inappropriate under your municipal code and under your comprehensive plan. So what we are seeking to do is to get rid of that dual zoning and go straight to the C1 zoning, which is one of the existing zonings. As was mentioned, we properly noticed this hearing. I won't reiterate those dates. I believe they're already in the record. At this point, I will get into our rezoning application. Mr. Lalander, did you want to help orientate council to where this land is located?
Sure, Claire. So when first of all, let me say my name's Brian Lalander, and today I'm wearing my hat as the local coordinator for Ventures. When Dwayne approached me about his development, I warned him that Northlands was a unique situation, that there were numerous irregularities that were left over from the annexation. And in order to agree to be a part of this project, I made it a condition that Dwayne would agree to clean up all the irregularities on his property. Rezoning was something that was always in our plan. Mr. Hyatt confirmed that it would happen with re-subdivision. So what you're seeing up here is the re-subdivision plat that we had to get approved by city council. Where is the Sweetwater Grow, which is the outdoor grow. The yellow square is where Miss Schaefer's home is. The green area is where the grow that is going under, the one that's falling apart is. And then instead of following the property lines in 2008, they carved out a section for the old barn where the corrals used to be, all of that area. And so I think the next slide shows the zoning. And so they carved that area out behind the Schaefer's up to the barn and created that little area so that when it was annexed, there were two zones on a single parcel. Now we're here to try to correct that error. And Claire can demonstrate from here how we met all of the requirements.
Thank you, Brian. So I'm hopeful that this schematic is big enough for you all to see. This red parcel overlaps two different pieces of property. So it overlaps lot 2 on the west side and then tract A over here on the east side. And so there are two portions of this land that have that dual AO and C1 zoning, which is in contravention of your code. So what we are, and this is 6.9 acres right here. So what we are looking to do is to remove that AO zoning and go straight to the C1 zoning for this area. So that then it would be in conformance with the surrounding zoning and be a more logical extension. I do believe this is necessary and desirable under your code. There are no adverse impacts. I want to be very clear that with this application, this is truly just a cleanup application. We are not looking to do any kind of horizontal or vertical build with this. So I'm going to assume that the members of City Council have read our updated narrative, where we go into detail about how we have met all of the code requirements. I'm certainly happy to answer questions about that. There are some of the code requirements that are inapplicable at this point because we are not looking to have development approval at this time. We are simply looking to reset the foundation. So once that is done, and assuming that it is approved this evening, that the recommendation of the Planning Commission is accepted and that the rezoning is approved on 2 reads of the ordinance, then down the road, we will come through with more detailed site development plans or re-subdivisions or that sort of thing, and allow the Planning Commission and Council the opportunity to have full hearings on any kind of development that would happen on this property. But I just want to be very clear that right now, that is not what we are seeking to do. We are seeking to clean up erroneous zoning on this land. So we do believe that we meet, I have laid out on page, I believe it's the 3rd page, how we are in alignment with the comprehensive plan. I think that a needs assessment and water and sewer and traffic are premature at this time. There is the GID sewer line that supports this land. Obviously, before there is any kind of request for further horizontal or vertical development, we would come back with information before the decision makers for that. With that, I don't want to belabor this, and I don't want to make this more complicated than it is. I do believe that we have met all the standard of review criteria under 16.3, 350, 1 through 6 that Mr. Hyatt spoke about. And with that, we would just seek approval and acceptance of the Planning Commission's recommendation to rezone this to straight C1 zone district. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have. I know there was a question about the mailed notice and the addresses, so I'm happy to answer those questions.
You're done with your presentation then, and witnesses?
These are just a few slides to show that we've met the criteria, and then I think we've already offered this into evidence. So yes, sir, I'm finished.
Okay, council, have any questions? No? Does anyone else wish to testify in favor of the rezoning application? Mr. David Sheridan.
Yes, my name is Dave Sheridan, Sheridan, and I'm here representing 2 adjacent landowners to this rezoning request. The first is Michael and Denise Tezak, who own 175 acres on the east side of this across the highway. And the second owner is George Beer, who is the adjacent property to the north of this rezoning. And in both cases, both owners are very much in favor of this cleanup rezoning and absolutely believe that this is a positive thing for the future. Any questions?
Any questions from council? Thank you, sir. Mr. Hyatt?
Clarify one thing, Mr. Lelander misspoke during his presentation. The subdivision plot change was approved by the Planning Commission, not by the City Council. And I just want to clarify. Must take a word. And that was the.
Mr. Lelander, do you concur?
Absolutely. If I missed, subdivision was approved by planning and zoning, no longer comes to City Council.
And I did not mean to cut off Councilperson Mays. She was commenting about a mistake on the application.
There's hold on, so on page on page 4 of 8, the application, where it says physical address, there's an extra 7 in there. So like the first part where it says owner, it has 3778, and then on the applicant name, it has physical address 737768. There's extra 7.
I think you probably need to pose that question to the attorney for the applicant.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull the application. Are you saying the address is incorrect?
Yes, the physical address on the applicant name.
Oh, then my apologies. I would move to correct that. I apologize. I can't pull it up in front of me to see what it should say. Brian, do you?
I don't.
Okay.
She's right.
Okay, Blair,
I'm
can you
sorry.
speak, Blair, can you speak to what that address should be if there's a mistake on that?
Yeah, it should be 37768. You're correct, Veronica. That's a mistake.
Our apologies.
So how does that affect the application?
It doesn't, it's been corrected on the record by virtue of your question and their answer.
Probably a good thing it got corrected.
I can't believe no one caught that. It's only this big, you know.
Okay. Is that all in favor? Everybody wanting to testify in favor? Oh, Carmen?
Carmen Lara, not sure if I'm in favor or against, so I guess I'll do it in favor. My only point is that be careful of approval of this. I don't know. They haven't been upfront with saying what they're thinking about putting on it. Although that question has been posed a couple of times. So I can't see the maps. They're too small, even when I try to pull them up on the computer. So I can't tell what the other ones are, AO, B1 or whatever. So I'm just saying, you don't have to be free mind.
Mr. Hyatt.
My recollection is that 6171 Ventures put on at least one presentation before the council and at least one presentation before the planning commission and went into great detail about what they intend to do in the future. Those issues are not before us now, but I think they've been pretty clear about intents.
They have never said what they're going to put on it.
It has nothing to do with this.
We're in a testimony phase.
I think we should ask the applicant's attorney to address that on what they intend to do in the future.
Mr. Belda, you got a comment?
So first of all, I think Mr. Hyatt is correct. We have been before the decision makers with those preliminary plans. Happy to talk about preliminary plans. Want to be very clear that that's not part of the legal criteria for this hearing, because what I don't want to do is give you, there's certainly plans for mixed use, but we haven't finalized those plans, and I don't want to come before you at a full hearing down the road and have a 1% deviation from that and have someone in the public say, oh, they lied earlier with what they said they were going to do. So I am happy to have Blair speak to kind of conceptually what we're looking to do, but legally speaking, that will be a different hearing, and there will be certainly opportunity for community input and decision maker review at that. So please let me know how you'd like us to proceed. I'm happy to have Blair speak about some conceptual ideas.
Blair, do you wish to say something?
If you would like me to, absolutely.
Sure. Your counsel asked you to.
Quickly.
Blair, if you could just
Do I
give like
need- do
a
I need
1
to-
minute.
Sure. Do I need to do I need to be sworn in?
Probably, yeah.
I should be sworn in because I didn't take the oath. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't know I had to talk. I'm sorry.
You make my life miserable. Okay. You please raise your right hand. Stand and raise your right hand.
Hold on. I got to get out of my vehicle. I'm actually camping with my grandkids, so go ahead. Yep.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of the law?
I do.
Thank you. Okay.
So
Question?
Blair,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, Ms. Avelda, you quiz him, and what do you want him to do?
So Blair, if you could just give us a really high level 30-second conceptual idea of what it is that Venture hopes to do and well, I'll leave it at that, what Venture hopes to do.
Absolutely. And I'd like to remind everybody what Claire did say, that this is conceptual. So we're trying to put commercial in the front on the C1 and maybe some mixed use housing, or and then on other parts we're trying to put housing. We'll probably be coming back for annexation if this gets rezoned, and we will be putting residential and commercial on the property.
Thanks, Blair.
Any other questions? Yep.
No, that should do it. Thank you.
You have Robert Ellsworth, who might be in favor.
Mr. Ellsworth, did you take the oath?
Not yet officially, and I don't have a camera, so you just got to trust me that I'm raising my right hand. And I have a pet in my lap. Do I have to stand?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
You go ahead.
I would
This is
I
testimony
am
in
in
favor.
favor of this. If this can help the community in any way, which I do see it as a plus for the community, then I am in favor of moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other testimony in favor? Okay, hearing none, does anyone wish to testify in opposition to the rezoning application? Nobody? Okay, we're gonna close that portion. There being no further witnesses or evidence in this matter, I close the public hearing on the rezoning application portion of this meeting.
Can I ask a question before we close it, just so I'm clear on this? So all we're doing is changing a dual zone to a C1 zone. So my confusion is Blair said he's talking residential. So I don't understand how we're gonna put residential on a
Come back and-
C1. So that's why I'm like, I want to make sure I'm clear on what we're doing.
If I'm happy to answer, I want to make sure that's okay.
Sure.
I mean, I don't want like a bait and switch here. I want to
No.
be clear what we're doing.
No, so there is a second property that Venture owns that is currently in the county. That's what Blair was referring to. That's not part of this rezoning. It would not be part of what we bring through for the commercial development here. I think he was just trying to give a big picture overview of everything that Venture owns in the area. So what we would be doing would be only what is conformance with C1 zoning at this point.
Okay, well, he threw me off when he started talking residential and annexation and all this other crazy stuff, so just want to make sure I'm on the right page. Thank you.
Verify, you see that this piece of property will stay C1 then? Is that what you're saying? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Yes. We're kind of messing this up a little bit. Okay.
Thanks, Gary. I just wanted to get that on before you closed.
There being no further witnesses or evidence in this matter, I close the public hearing on the rezoning application portion of this meeting. The law provision for an executive session to consider the evidence. The city council must conduct its deliberation in public session. Does any city council member wish to take up ordinance number 1198 titled an ordinance amending the city of Walsenberg zoning map, rezoning two parcels containing dual A-0 and C-1 zoning to a single C1 zoning district, or do you wish to discuss? What's council's pleasure?
Do we need to introduce it?
Yeah, it needs to be introduced.
I'd like to introduce ordinance number 1198, an ordinance amending the Walsenberg zoning map, rezoning two parcels containing dual AO and C1 zoning to a single C1 zoning district.
Mr. Martinez, it has been introduced, ordinance 1198.
Mr. Mayor. Move to approve ordinance 1198, first reading, an ordinance amending the city of Walsenberg zoning map, zoning two parcels containing dual AO and C1 zoning to a single C1 zoning district.
A motion by Rick Jennings. Second by Nick Hill. Discussion. The only thing I gotta say is all this basically does.
It cleans it up.
Takes half as, it's half AO and half C1. They're gonna make it all C1.
Yeah. All of these.
If there's no other promises or anything, nothing like that, utilities, anything else. This is strictly changing the zone.
That's how I understand it. Everything I've seen.
I just want to get that on the record.
No other discussion? We'll have roll call.
Ricky Jennings,
Yes.
Don Martinez,
Yes.
Fred Ecker,
Yes.
Nick Vigil.
Yes.
Ronald Stafford.
Yes.
Veronica May.
Yes.
Gary Benzani.
Yes. Thank everyone.
Thank you for your time.
This concludes this portion of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome. 6 is discussion of an initiative referendum to bring to the voters of Walsenberg during the upcoming 2025 November election. Increase sales tax to defray the cost of the new Walsenberg Police Department. I believe Mr. Jennings probably come up with this idea a year or so ago. Giving the citizens of Walsenberg the opportunity, if they deem it necessary to add more money to the police department, probably have a bigger and better police department. So that's, if we're gonna do that, we need to start soon. The deadlines are coming forward to get the ballot issue written. And Mr. Hyde, can you write the ballot issue if we kind of decide what you need tonight?
What I need in order to move ahead and come up with something for you to consider, I need to understand what it is that you want to do. And we have to meet all the TABOR requirements. So if you want to increase sales tax or property tax, whatever it is that you think you want to do, if you give me some idea, then I can go ahead and put together a preliminary draft and get it to you. You're gonna have to have the first vote on an ordinance by June 3rd.
Good. That gives us a little time because
Not
we
much.
have not had a chance to,
Not much time.
yeah, but we need to decide how much we're talking about, how we're,
Yeah, so probably what I would appreciate is if you can give me some idea, not a vote on it, but if you can give me some idea where you'd like to go, and then I can start putting together the draft. And then the draft can come back before you and you can kick it around and see what you want to change, what you like, what you don't. And then we can go from there.
well, we gotta kind of figure out what would pass, what won't pass. There's a lot to this. One, just for everybody's information, one cent sales tax, roughly 600,000, or it was last year. I don't know what it's gonna be this next year, but
Consider a mill levy versus a sales tax license, are pretty high.
I think we're gonna go through the discussion process here in the next, between now and the next meeting to decide. There's several options. Our sales tax right now this is gonna put it close to 10 if you add a percent. It's 9.9 now or 8.9 now. The nice thing about sales tax is everybody traveling through helps pay for it.
Correct.
Property tax, all the people here pay for it.
Well, property taxes keep going down, so.
Yeah. Probably generate more money with sales tax. Those are a lot of things I really don't have answers to yet. That is kind of, we decided if we're gonna put it on the ballot, we better start, and this is actually the starting point tonight, so.
Well, and I think we need to know from the chief, like what,
Yeah.
like, he came into a budget that we kind of made up. Like what's the true budget that's needed for law enforcement? I realize too that there's gonna also be revenues coming in with traffic and some of these other things. So, I mean, I think if we had some kind of maybe figures from the chief to start, or we could kind of back into that number.
I'd like to see some kind of financial thing on where we're actually at on everything, what everything costs and what we're looking at. Nice.
I work with Mr. Stoll on that, in the upcoming couple weeks.
Todd and I have been working on that as well, but with tax season, he's kind of behind.
So just to get, so Mr. Hyde don't waste his time, everybody kind of still in favor of giving this to the voters, right? That's a consensus, okay.
And I think when we had the meet and greet, you know, I mentioned that there and I thought it was pretty positive. Just the people in the room anyway, that they were willing to pay for the service that they're getting.
Okay, I think we probably, it's time to start maybe have a work session or something and let's get some kind of budget where we look at, find out what kind of money we're looking at first and then decide how I mean, there is mill levy, there's sales tax, there's different things. So
Well, and if,
we could do him like he did in Morrison. He just has to.
if I suggest, you know, I mean, Gary and I, we kind of worked on this law enforcement thing from the beginning. I mean, if maybe we just get together as a small group and then bring it back to the big group with some ideas. I mean, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, got any volunteers for this committee?
Yeah, that's.
Want to be on it? Gary.
Volunteered you. Me and you.
Volunteered me. I don't have a life. I don't care. I started this, you should be on it.
Me and Rick.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we can do much tonight, but it is a positive. We're gonna do something. So if that'll kind of get you started.
Putting together.
I think we have to.
Yeah, it's this day and age, there's a lot of positive comments. I think people want it. And we're such a small town, we need some extra help to pay for it. I mean, we're too small to really have a full-blown police department, but that looks like where we're going. So now we got to fund it. So let's go from there.
The enclosure that I added to that, all of you keep that in put it on your mirror or something. Those dates are gonna be very important.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Do we need any
May 20th, we got to instruct the attorney something. That gives us a month.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
It says on his list, he gave us at 5:20 is the last council meeting to instruct attorney referendum.
No.
Okay.
Well, that's our next regular meeting is what,
May 4th.
May 4th. That's what I'm saying.
A month. So we got.
Yeah.
A couple of days.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep that in mind. We'll
Do we have to make any kind of, it says, or it's just a discussion. Yeah, I guess it's just a discussion.
This is just, it was too early to make any kind of.
We've got to have some kind of idea by at least the next meeting.
So is all the council okay with Rick and I and Veronica kind of putting something together to bring to council? Good with it. We'll do the number crunching and figure out how much money everything generates. It's gonna take a little bit of doing. And then go through some kind of budget and find out what our.
Should have that.
We don't even know what our needs are yet, so.
We should have that in the next 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
What I'm being told.
It'll go a little quicker if there's only 2 or 3 of us, sure. Thank you.
There's 3 of us. We have to publicly announce it.
Can we? Guess what? You get off the phone. I could do you and Rick.
Except me and Rick can do it.
Yeah.
Me and Rick can do it.
Okay, Veronica and Rick, got it.
Just figure out day, time.
Yeah, it's just a lot of, figure out what we need budget wise, where we're at. Like we'll take or want to go for, and then figure out how to assess it, whether sales.
I think Mr. Stovall's probably gonna lead us, right?
Yeah,
We'll get.
So it's gonna be the Veronica Rick show?
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about the over 2 is a crowd thing.
Gary, you're always a crack.
We're
good. I'm waiting on
We're gonna use it.
Basically, yeah.
That's email.
Yeah.
Okay, we done with that? I think we got to start on it, so. Approval of double-sided steel insulated door for the gas department. Sounds like Art Ortiz is on board. Nobody said nothing before now.
I haven't heard anything about the gas department, like,
It's been tore up for several years.
Has it?
And yeah, so it was time to try to get that place kind of back up. 21 is when post part is when the door kind of jammed up along with some other things. So we're trying to kind of clean that department up a little bit, right?
and where are they with budget?
Well, right now, there's back that high, so we're, that's another one Todd and I are working with.
Well, I think with something like this, like overhead, there's a lot of places do this. We only got one price. I would like to see more than the one bid.
Okay.
Personally.
I mean, how, I guess my other question would be is how, it's 2021, but how bad is it? Is there a safety issue? Is there a,
Well,
I mean, safety issue, safety to staff and just safety to any
I
equipment?
don't know if it's really a safety issue at this point. I think it's more of a functionality issue. It just, won't roll up, and roll back down without jamming up. That's what I was told.
How hard would it be to get more bids? I mean, I don't know how much more you're gonna save.
Get some options for next go around.
That seems like a lot for one garage door.
You thought? I didn't think it was a lot. Cause what did we pay for these doors? Does anyone remember?
12 by 14, that's not that big.
Remember, Mr. Herman? Cause that was just not very long ago.
6 months. I don't remember.
And was it the same company?
We used,
Well, this is says Bridges.
That's what they.
That's what this is.
Well, we'll get at least 2 estimates and
Yeah, I know you got overhead door and a few different, I would like to see more on it.
I actually didn't think it was bad, but
Yeah, it's actually not.
I didn't think it was.
I can, yeah. Not beat up and it's maybe fixable, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna see what the two prices are and then if anybody's interested, they got a chance to go look at it, they can.
Okay.
So we go move on to number 8, please. Approval of appraisal for the value of the number 5 ditch water for both long-term lease or sale. We had an executive on our number 5 ditch water, we're moving it. We did have an offer on it that we don't know. We're probably gonna long-term lease some of the water in the future. If there is that much water, we'll never use that much in Northlands in my lifetime, I don't think. Of course, I'm old, but we need to sell it. We borrowed so much money, our debt fees and service fees and what our water bills are for the citizens is up there a ways. And this is simply a way of trying to maybe recoup some additional revenue to alleviate that situation. And if we're gonna lease it, I think we need to know what it's worth. And I got one appraisal, council can do what they like, but it's gonna be about $10,000 to do an appraisal. And I contacted the firm that our city water attorney recommended.
Council needs to give you permission to do that.
I got an appraisal, I can do that on my own.
No, you can't. Mr. Howard.
He didn't say that he ordered the appraisal. He said that he got a price on an appraisal from the company.
Different.
And he's bringing that to the council now. He has a question. Isn't that correct, Mayor? Is that correct?
Yes, I asked the guy if he could do an appraisal. He's supposed to send me an appraisal.
And that's fine. The council would need to give.
Didn't cost any money.
To move ahead, which is why you have it on the agenda.
Yeah.
Well,
It's on the agenda.
I just want to be clear that sale is off, as long as I'm sitting here, sale is off the table. So
But not sell.
lease, but not no sale.
We need to find out what the price, what it's going for anyway, what the cost would be.
He has a question.
Well, it takes 7 of us to make all that decision, so we'll make that decision when we come. Stacy,
The old timers, you cannot sell water out of that ditch, the number 5 ditch. That was one of their comments. I'd like to make sure that from a legal standpoint, from our water lawyers, that we can, before we go forward, put any money down on something like that.
Not so.
The selling of the water itself. That was their concern. So, it's the old farmers, you know.
I know, but we can't really use that water for anything.
All right.
Mr. Coulter, he's the one that was advising you before.
I just, water rights here, sticky, it's, the way.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, I'm gonna cross every T before we.
well, council approved way before I got here in 1999 to buy this ranch, and they bought that water. And they also approved years ago to move it and use it for augmentation water. I didn't do none of that. All I'm doing is, how are we gonna lease it or do something with it if we don't know what it's worth? That's all this is. What's wrong with knowing what it's worth?
Augmentation is different than sale or lease, correct?
If we turn it into augmentation water, we gotta know what to charge to augment whoever needs it, whoever wants it. That's what the appraisal is on.
The water lawyers are much smarter than I am, so.
That's why this guy's a water guy. For Northlands, if Northlands grows, we sell more water, the water sewer fund makes more money. Or then we can lower what we're charging our citizens. That's what this is about.
There's no.
We need more Casellas out there, kiosks out there selling water. I mean, that's what we need them for. We gotta sell it.
I'm against kiosks. We couldn't even keep track of two of them. How are we gonna keep track of 5 or 6?
I think that's part of the application process for the water attorneys.
That's just not fair to the citizens of Walsenberg to keep spending money on water and not getting nothing back. That's all I'm trying to do. So.
Bring grants to council. You could get money for the citizens that way.
Go ahead and write grants, Carmen. I'll sign them.
But I can't get into the official sites.
Got another question.
Besides, I've given grants to city administrators before.
Okay.
Not Mr. Stillwell, but you never follow
Brian.
looking at them.
We're done with this. We don't even need to be doing this.
So you just laid out how in 1999, to have enough augmentation for the development that's going to occur in Walsenberg. Then you're going to have extra above what development is going to cost. And if you can get that water associated with that 200 feet that you have in City Lake so that you can store it, and you can come up with some leases based on the same kind of model that the conservation district does for augmentation, you can find a way to do this where you can make some money to contribute to the water enterprise without risking things. Because the leases, if there isn't no water, you ain't gonna get no lease.
No, you write it up that way.
Yeah. And so that's easy enough to do. The big question is, how much money does the city have in their budget can they afford the capital investment that it will take? You still have your due diligence on City Lake and those capital investments that are going to have to occur. But then how do you go into any of this, just like the Lathrop thing, without putting up the money to know what the numbers are that you're going into? So I'm with Veronica, I'm 100% against ever selling water rights. But if you can find it in the budget to figure out how much your water rights are worth, I think that's something you probably have to do. I just don't know how you pay for it.
Well, I think we can afford 10,000 to get a number on it, but we could lose way more than that by for less.
Yeah, we could.
Do, you know,
Yeah.
that's my goal. I want to try to get these water bills straightened out.
Okay, that's too Gary.
And it's,
Yeah.
right.
Money for that. That's what all I'm trying to do.
Go get.
Mr. Craddock.
Yes, I was just wondering, because we seem to be talking about this water as though it's already been a municipal use. Has that been changed from an agricultural use, that ditch water? And if so, when did that come before the board? Because 3 years ago, when the contract with your water engineers was discussed, I recall a very heated discussion that their task 1 and 2 was simply to do due diligence on a possible plan to change the use from agricultural to municipal, and that any further contract with your water engineers would come back before council. To my knowledge, that's never occurred. So I just need to know, I think, what's the status? Are you guys moving full speed ahead with converting those water rights from agricultural to municipal?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been.
You have been since when?
I'm sure it was voted on before I got here, but that's what I was told by.
No, what was voted on before you got here was
Yeah.
task 1 and 2 of your engineers contract, which called strictly for due diligence. And it was rushed through because everyone needed to talk to Butch Corsentino, who was getting sicker by the day. And at the time, I remember, because Veronica brought it up, and there were several people that were concerned with drying up that property. They said that subsequent task orders would come before the city council. You know, I've been covering you guys since then, and that has never come before the city council unless you guys are doing something in your executive sessions.
No, we wouldn't do that. You know that. I'll research it. I was told it was approved to go ahead and proceed with moving to number 5.
The last vote I'm aware of was simply task 1 and 2 of your engineer's contract. And if you read those, that's going to be research and due diligence.
All right. That's what they're doing. That's why they came out with them kiosks, because they're getting the application. They're working on the application. So they're doing their due diligence.
I don't think these two things are contradict each other. You have to have your engineering due diligence and your legal due diligence and prepare the application for a change of use. Now, once they're ready to move ahead, that application has to come to the city council, and you're going to have to approve the application. Right. To be.
That they can file for a supplemental plan in case we need augmentation water and use coal or water for augmentation.
Oh, once you file the application for a change of use, then the law allows you to file for a supplemental use of, and you can then use some of that water as if you already had the change of use approved.
Yeah, well, we're right there then, because that's where I'm told where they're at.
Has the application been filed in
No.
water court at this
No.
point, or?
I don't believe so.
I think you're probably looking at a few more months
Okay.
before that occurs.
Just out of curiosity, why would the city buy a ranch and let that water sit there forever and ever? What sense does that make to anybody?
Well, I'm not sure, but I just know under the Kansas decree, the first thing you have to do is dry up the property associated with that right. And there were several people 3 years ago that were quite concerned with drying up very fertile pasture.
So I asked you why we bought it. Answer me why we bought it.
I did not even live in the county at that time.
Okay, somebody can answer that. Brian,
A study, and that was all we approved.
Brian Leylander, please.
Yeah,
Point of order.
sure.
So the application hasn't been filed yet, but the substitute water supply plan's already been filed on March 31st. Should that have been provided to council?
Two different water supply plans. So the one that they filed is a bridge to get the city to the point to where they can file the change of use and then get a longer term water supply plan.
I understand that. I think part of the confusion is that people like Stacy Decker and me know how to go online and download that and read it. And city council members may or may not have seen that substitute water supply plan. The citizens know nothing about that water supply plan, so I didn't know if that was something that should have come before council or not.
I believe it was, but
I don't remember seeing it.
anyway, do we want to get an appraisal on this water?
Is this something that our water attorney is recommending at this point? Because I don't recall that conversation.
Say that?
Is this something that our water attorney is recommending?
Yeah, I asked her in the executive and she had this outfit from Denver that does appraisals. She don't do them.
Must have been an executive session I was in and I don't remember. That's what I'm saying. I don't remember this conversation.
I asked her what it was worth and she said she has this very good company in Denver. That's what was said. And that's who I got. And we could advertise for an appraisal to whoever you want to advertise to. Or you can let it sit down there on Highway 10 and let the taxpayers pay for it forever and ever. I don't know. Council decide.
I'm saying that we're talking 3 years, 5 years, all these years. If we get an appraisal right now, how long is that appraisal good for if we can't do anything for years? Because then in a couple of years, we'd have to get another appraisal. Yes, no?
They give you a rough idea if you make some kind of agreement right now.
A lot of money for a rough idea. If we'd have to redo it and spend another.
You have a chance to lead, they're gonna do the substitute supply plan. That's in a couple of months. Don't you want to know what it's worth?
I think we should.
We're talking 2 months away, Veronica. Frustrating to get that done. And I was gonna get you stuff as soon as I get it. I do not know yet what our actual usage is per year and how many meters we got. We should have that. I'm trying to get that done within the next meeting or so anyway. We got to get there.
So back to the topic. So we paid 10,000 or more, who knows, for an appraisal. So we can start using it, we can start charging that in 2 months. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, well, we have extra water now to even. We're not using all of the Gomez right now. We could,
This isn't Gomez, this is 5.
it's augmentation water. I want to know what we can get for it to lease it out.
What the agenda says the value of number 5 ditch water. That's what we're talking about right now is number 5 ditch water appraisal of that. You're talking about all these other water sources. So is that appraisal for everything or is the appraisal for just number 5 ditch water that's sitting on the agenda?
This is just number 5 because that is the bulk of the augmentation water there'll be.
Okay, so that's what I asked. If we get this appraisal, you're telling me in 2 months, we can start leasing the water when we know what it's worth?
What we got left in the Gomez.
Nope, we're not talking about Gomez, we're just talking number 5 here.
It tells you the same number. Number 5 is going to become augmentation water, just like the Gomez is augmentation water. Same thing. We need to know what it costs, what we can sell it for. Or lease it. That's all I want to do is know. I asked the water attorney and I asked the engineer at the meeting and they didn't answer me.
I don't.
Okay, I just got a
Go
slight
ahead.
question. So I think nobody's understanding substitute water supply plants. I think that they should be invited to the next meeting with Matt and Delilah. Second of all is the ranch water. The ranch was purchased in 1999 only for the water, not the ranch. Since 1999, I guarantee that the city hasn't made over $50,000 on the ranch with their leases and their hay and the sales. So the ranch doesn't, and we dried up. So I haven't seen a ranch report. I don't know what's going on. I don't really care about the ranch, but the water was purchased. The ranch was purchased for the water. This has been a thorn in the city side since 1999, 25 years. 25 years of fighting water that we haven't even used. And the city of Walsenberg has survived 3 droughts and we haven't even touched the number 5 water. I think it's about time we make a decision and move this number 5. I don't know what water's worth. It could go from $1,000 an acre foot to $20,000 an acre foot. I don't know. We spent $8 million to build a reservoir to store more water. So a lot of people don't understand substitute water supply. First, what augmentation water is, they don't understand at all. Okay, so when you move these water and these water rights, that is a legal issue, not a council issue. That's a legal issue. I think you need to guide them to say, we are going to do this or we're not going to do this. If we're not going to do this, you lost $1.5 million worth of money for buying that water, and it's never to get in the cookie jar. 25 years, we lost 1.2 million because it's still in the cookie jar, because we haven't used a penny of it. And we spent $8 million. We have a new water treatment facility. You just spent $142,000 on surface irrigators to treat water. So why are we sitting on this water? That's up to you guys. $1.2 million 25 years ago, and we're still sitting on the water.
So there was also a plan for the city to sell Marcia the land for $1 million, and we see where that went. So that money would have came back to the city if the Marcia plan would have been followed. So there's been a lot of errors that have been made.
It would help us figure out, where we stand with our assets as well,
Well, it's just sitting there and I'm just looking at what we're charging for water and sewer fees. And that water is just sitting there and we spent $1 million too, like David said, and not doing nothing with it. And if you don't want to sell it outright, which you get a ton of money, let's go ahead and at least lease it. But all we got to do is know what we can lease it for. That's all I'm asking. I mean, let's find out what it's worth. I mean, I don't know how else you do it. Carmen?
When I was on council, council made a decision to do a study preliminary study to see how moving the ditch would affect the area, the city ranch. And if it would dry up, we didn't want it to get dried up. So we said, do a preliminary study. That study never came to council. I don't even know if they did it. There was never a motion since then to move forward with doing something with that ditch. And
So
Bazzani,
what's the council gonna do? Buy cows? Was he gonna buy cows?
the study was,
And if the study tells you don't do nothing with it, what, you're gonna buy cows or you're gonna sell it back?
Study never came back.
and if the study would have said, don't do it, then we would have said, don't do it.
So what are you gonna do with it?
Wait. You told me to come up here and speak, and
I did, I heard enough.
The cast. I think citizens' comments are over though.
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor, can I,
Go ahead.
I would, move to approve, for an appraisal, for the number 5 ditch water value, to exceed $10,000.
I got a motion by Ron Stafford, second by Nick Hill. Any other discussion?
I want to be clear that it's not to sell.
It's not.
I want to be clear that that appraisal is for lease only.
That's right. I agree.
What do you care if you get the price of the sell?
I'm just, I'm going what it says on the agenda.
You afraid to be tempted or what?
No, I'm not afraid to be tempted. I'm afraid you'll be tempted.
We can't
It takes seven of us.
Well, you have a way of.
We don't want to show our cards. We're talking about an appraisal.
It's not for sale.
Talking about an appraisal is all we're talking about.
What does it say on the agenda? For lease or sale? So I am very clear that it says not for sale.
Why wouldn't you want to know what the price of the water is worth?
I'm not saying that, Gary. That's not what I said at all. I want to know what the value is, but not for sale, period.
You just want to stick your head in the sand. Why wouldn't you want to know? I don't understand why you wouldn't want to know. Why wouldn't you want to know?
Sell it.
Okay, then don't sell it. It don't hurt to know.
Well, the thing is, we sell water. We're not selling water rights.
No,
We sell water, we lease water.
Lease water. That's what I'm saying. I want to be.
It doesn't say the sale,
The water.
it doesn't say the sale of the rights. It just says water
Sell
sale.
water.
We sell water out of up here in front of the city hall. We lease water.
All I'm saying is I remember the conversation from executive session,
That's all.
and I want to be clear that we are not selling any.
The rights, the rights,
No rights.
not selling the rights.
I just want to be clear.
No, I think you need to be open-minded as a councilman, but
Well, as I said, conversations, period.
I am not in favor of selling rights. However, I would like to know what it's worth. If, for example, somebody comes by and offers you enough money to pay off all your debt, builds you new treatment plants for a little bit of water that's been sitting down there for 25 years you haven't used.
$50 million?
Never used. Maybe. Why close your mind to that? Don't close your mind to that. That's all I'm saying. You got enough votes everybody's against selling water. I'm sure it's never gonna happen.
No, we're
Sell
gonna sell
rights.
water rights.
Right.
It doesn't
We're not
matter nothing
against-
to know what it's worth though.
No,
I'm
we
not
want to
against
do
selling
that.
water.
We want to
Against
sell water,
selling the
but not the
rights.
water rights.
You don't want to get in a position where you sell the rights and then you end up having to lease water back because we got rid of all of our.
This is just for leasing and sale of water,
Yes.
not rights.
What, you don't want that in the report? Why wouldn't you
Not
want to
the
know?
rights. I don't want the rights.
you let the people vote on it,
Rights.
Eric, instead of trying to convince everybody.
I got a motion. Why don't you be out of order and sit still? Quit.
Mayor, this is Dee. May I ask a question as I'm a little bit confused?
No, ma'am. I got a motion on the floor. And a second by Nick. Any other discussion?
I want to be sure that that motion and second include no selling of water rights.
The appraisal has nothing to do with what we do with it.
What's the motion, Rick?
I don't know.
It's right. Well,
In a second.
The leasing of water,
Or the
not
sale.
selling.
Get what it's worth though.
Yeah, we're gonna get what it's worth.
I mean, that's even if you were to sell it.
Yeah, we could know what it's.
You don't have to sell it, but what does it hurt to know?
I think we all know where we all stand, Bob. I
Alright.
think we know.
I don't.
We don't. We don't. We
I
don't.
think there's some
This-
people
this is
sitting
not-
here that want to sell those rights.
No, I don't. This isn't about selling.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anywhere on rights on that motion.
Yeah.
It just says the sale of water, which we do sell already. And the leasing of water, which we do lease already.
I think it's
That's not
good.
selling of the rights.
I just want to get something going. We can't. Got this 26 years ago. It's been sitting there. All the money we've spent and borrowed to build all these things, and we're not taking advantage of nothing. That's a mistake. In my opinion, that's a mistake. We got to do something. So I don't see how we can do anything without knowing what it's worth. And we have to have an appraisal to do that. So we got a motion and second. Any other comments? Roll call.
Nick Behill,
Yes.
Fred Ecker,
Yes.
Ronald Stafford,
Yes.
Veronica Mays,
No, because I believe people want to sell our rights.
Jerry Mazzani,
Yes.
Don Martinez,
Yes.
Ricky Jennings.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, approval of probable paving patchwork projects for 25. David, do you want to address this at all?
Yeah, we don't have nothing, do we?
No, it's preliminary. This is only March, but I think it's time to advertise. We've been collecting a percent sales tax forever. There should be a ton of money in the paving fund, and our streets are deteriorating. I think it's time to put some kind of project together. Every year, we started last year. So go ahead.
We have approximately 12 streets that we had an issue with last year. We got 50% of them done. We still have Jefferson to overlay the 2-inch mat, and we can get to the streets that we missed last year, such as the intersections on 6th Street that we've been having problems with the pans. So we need to get the pan. It's not going to cover a lot of streets, but last year we did the same tonnage for each ward. So I will try to do the same for tonnage this year. And we spent about 618,000 last year. And street overlays. So, and we should be getting reimbursement from some of those people if they ever pay us. But I think there were 6 jobs that we sent invoices out for them to pay us for the asphalt. So we have plenty of streets to do.
Will we go legal action on those reimbursements?
Yeah, we sent out the bills, I believe, like I can't guarantee we sent them. We turned all the invoices into Mr. Moore, but I do have all of last year's documents. We're still pending on Loma Vista. That's still on Jefferson. Because they tore up the street. He told the building inspector, oh yeah, we'll pay for that, we'll pay for that. And the person who said that didn't have the authority to pay for that. So we're still working with, I don't remember what's the case from Loma Vista. Lewis from Loma Vista. But I have we only had 3 street cuts this year for water breaks, knock on wood. And they're about small patches, like 10 by 10. The rest of it we can do row the mill. So if we can have if in the fund's about 600,000, we can do the same as we did last year. And we could put it out for bid again and go from there. We have plenty of time to work on that. Still have 3 months, but we'd like to get that done before we start painting also. So if we have the money available, we'll put a list together and we'll get an RFP out. We had, and then the one I really, we like to get done, as we suggested last year, is Heritage parking lot. That would have to come out of the Conservation Trust Fund, I believe, because it's.
It's not a street.
Yeah. So the Heritage parking lot's worse than Safeway parking lot.
So how much is left in that conservative fund since we paid for the sprinklers at the golf courses and then you asked for all that other equipment?
Factor, I don't know. We'll find out.
And I mean, honestly, I feel like that park's being used for a business. And I don't feel that the city should have to take care of that. I don't think that's a priority.
Parks south, but that's a high traffic area for us, as you know. It's a very high traffic area. So that's your decision. We'll put the list together. I'll have it for the next meeting with the RFPs ready to go.
Yeah, I think everybody's in favor of, let's do something. I mean, the citizens passed a 1% sales tax. And they've been let down by not anybody doing any paving for quite a while. We've done a little bit last year, so thank you, sir.
Joe, do you have,
Mustang and Heritage Park, I thought they were gonna pay them.
Joe, do you have any, like, are we close to getting any figures for like what's in that paving fund? And does that ordinance or whatever, that sales tax, does that sunset, do we know? Or does it go on forever and ever?
No, as far as I know, it keeps going. And as far as that other goes, as soon as Todd gets off the taxes for
Today is tax day.
everything. No, he's saying by the 21st, we should have, which I forwarded you that email. Yeah, for the strings.
Were you gonna make a motion on the approval of the patchwork or just gonna?
No, I think
We just gave
we got a
direction.
verbal of, Mr. Harriman knows that all the council wants it, so we can put something together and we'll vote on it next time. Yeah. Have something to put out there to bid. And some kind of bid packet, I guess. If we could see the bid packet is all we'd have to do. Okay, that's done. Resolution 25R04. This is Stacy Park contract they sent me, but I didn't sign yet. I'm waiting for council approval. In a motion to let me sign it.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I went over the contract a couple of times. One of the things that this contract required is that you have to give approval in the form of a resolution. And then when the contract is signed, that resolution has to be attached to it. And that's why you have that resolution before you tonight.
We gotta do the resolution first.
Well, it's one of the same thing. When they approve the resolution, they approve the contract.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the resolution 2025R04. Resolution authorizing the city of Walsenberg to enter into a contract, Colorado Department of Transportation, to replace Stacy Park Playground.
It's up to 135,000 now. Do we have to put this out for bid or can I use the guy that bid it last time?
Well, it's a public,
Advertise.
it's a public work and it's over 50,000, so you're gonna have to advertise.
Okay, so I got a motion and second, and that's just gonna give me the opportunity to sign the contract. Then we'll come back and advertise for bid.
Yeah,
Contract with the-
you can't advertise the signed contract.
Carmen,
So, being that you're doing this contract and everything, is this, did you ever resolve whether it belonged to housing or the city?
belongs to the city.
The city.
Want to make sure.
It's actually a city street going in the middle of it, which has been vacated to do the park.
I took a look at that and I think it actually lies on the street right of way.
Did we
But-
ever get an answer if that other old contract that paid for the park in the first place, if that went away? Where they gave the city like $2,000 or
I've
something?
never heard if we,
Like conservation fund.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
it never came back.
There's one of them little signs at the golf course too. I don't know what they paid for, but they paid like $1,500 and they have the right to inspect it every year.
But you have the same language in this particular contract. The Department of Transportation has the right to come and inspect it, and make sure that you're maintaining it properly in the future.
I know they're still doing inspections.
So. They gave you a penny 50 years ago, they're gonna come in and inspect on a regular basis.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for years. They look for their little sign.
So what are they doing now since it's been torn up for so long?
I haven't seen anybody here to inspect any of the park.
So we're gonna make it better and they can inspect whatever. All right, thank you.
Yeah, the CDOT's holding up to their end. I mean, council before me agreed that they could put their sewer line through there, or reroute the sewer line for their bridge project. And they agreed that they put the park back the way it was. They destroyed the equipment, so they agreed to put in it all new. That's about what this amounts to.
And Mayor, if I might comment, this is a standard grant format. In other words, you spend the money and then you get reimbursed. So the city's not gonna get a windfall out of this.
No, they done that on purpose. Yeah, we have to have invoices and we get reimbursed for the invoices. Yeah.
So we approve,
Okay.
we approve this, we go out to bid, get the park done.
You're just approving this for me to sign it. Then we'll go out to bid after that. Any other questions? I got a motion and a second, I believe.
What you do?
Roll call.
Ronald Stafford,
Yes.
Nick Vijo,
No,
no? Veronica Mays,
Yes.
Brett Ecker,
Yes.
Don Martinez,
Yes.
Rick Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Barsani.
Yes. Okay, that takes care of both of them, right? Next one. You're gonna write the resolution, we attach
The
it.
resolution should be in your packet.
We just did the resolution.
I'm gonna have it signed this thing.
So that just gets, I sign it and that gets attached to it and send it back.
That's right.
Okay.
So you signed the contract, you signed the resolution,
Resolution,
and then that goes to CDOT. CDOT should get the state people to sign it.
Yeah.
And then you should get a full.
that one lady emails me twice a day on.
A separate approval of the contract? Like we did the resolution, but do we have to do a separate?
Resolution contains.
Okay, well, there are two different items on the agenda, that's why.
But it's the same thing. All right, we're done. Mayor and council comments. First thing I had was, we need to get this water debt service equal amongst everybody in town. We got to get this.
So
Been kicking the can down the street and just the single family residence has been paying the bulk of the bill and we gotta get that fixed.
So can I
Sure, go ahead.
comment back to that? We brought something in and then, it died. We're doing a different approach now. But during this different approach, what we found is a decade of estimated reads for multiple customers doesn't really give you an accurate billed usage annual volume. So we're having to kind of weed out some of that and hopefully err on the side of caution with the estimated read that's been put in the city for the decade.
I was hoping this takes like a day.
Are we very, very sure before we you know, and that was one thing that was one of those that was obvious, but yet at the same time, if, you know, kind of kick you in the face when you see, oh, that's why it's not. That's why one year we're way up here and one year we're way down here with build usage. That's why it's so variable.
Okay. That's been something, since we passed the rate increase back in last July. All the burden was put on the single family homes. They didn't consider multi-user meters and businesses. And I think everybody agrees we got to get that fixed.
Correct.
That's what this is for.
Exactly.
Well, commercial are paying more now with the last water rates that we passed. The businesses are paying that more of the share now.
Not much. $1,000.
They're paying.
Yeah. But if they're paying 30 line fees, that's the problem.
The problem is that multi-users are not paying their share. That's the problem.
Right, yeah, well, same thing. So that's what this is supposed to do. Now that we can go to just a per 1,000 gallons, that takes care of it, makes it even across the board. The more you use, the more you pay, done. So we got to get that done. $100 a month just before you use any water is pretty steep for most places, so. And that is gonna address the water's long-term lease, the number 5 ditch. It is in the process of getting moved. I was under the standing that the prior council approved that. It is in the works of being moved to use as augmentation water. We've had some numerous inquiries over the last 2 years since I've been here. A wind farm up north wanted to haul 300 acre feet to northern Colorado for a wind farm. So we wasn't able to do that because we've done nothing with this augmentation water. We can't use Ackerman water, any other water to do that. This number 5, we can't. And that's a way of getting some revenue and trying to lower some of these bills for everybody. There's construction projects where they need water for dirt work. There's numerous, grows, and they got to augment their grow. There's a bunch of different reasons to need this water. So that's all I'm working on. I would like to know what it's worth. If we've done without it this long, they survived 2 years with what we got in storage. The water rights Walsenberg owns is, we probably don't use 1/10 of it. That's where I'm at. I'm concerned for us going $20 million in debt and not doing nothing to get some return. That's all this council, I think, should do, is try to get some return on what we've invested in. And I don't think that's asking too much. That's all I got.
I got
Go ahead.
nothing on that. When you say they're in the process, they are in the process of working on the application.
Yes.
That way, nobody thinks that somebody's doing it backdoor. They're working on the application of it, not in the process of getting it changed.
And we'll bring to the next meeting if there's something that needs to be voted on, and we will.
Yeah, just to clarify, it's just the application.
I was under the impression that once council started something a few years ago, I don't want to interfere with that. I want to just keep that process going. And that's what I thought I was doing, but I'm getting hollered at for it.
No, but it's a long process.
Yeah, but I think it's insane not to follow through with it. I think we either sell it, get rid of the ranch and everything, or follow through. We got to do one or the other.
So this council has had numerous executive sessions with our water attorney,
Mhm.
and never have we come back to these chambers and made any decisions. So I'm just gonna say that. So the previous councils that were here did make those decisions to do that study, to do those things. We've had several meetings in executive session, have never one time come back out here and made decisions in front of the public.
And that actually
This is. It's not just did it a couple years ago. It's been a process for years. You know, so.
Yeah, it's nothing I don't think should be taken as underhanded or it's true as what council wanted years ago.
Time is up.
I think it's the reason for buying the water to start with.
That's the whole reason.
You can't buy and let it sit there. That's,
You know.
So I thought everybody wanted a bonus. What we got? Oh, anybody else on council?
So,
Go ahead.
if anybody's interested, we had the surf series done on City Lake. The dive team will be there, the dive in the reservoirs and the treatment tank. We're running all our ditches. If you would like to observe the reservoirs, we're gonna be there for the next 3 days. If you'd like a ditch tour, I can take you on it. We've been going daily. That's 11 miles of ditch line. You see that it's flowing. We're running about 12 CFS. So if anybody's interested, over the next 3 days, we'll be out going through the reservoirs and the ditches.
I'm interested.
Come on out.
So you're talking about the Kohler.
Kohler, Gomez, we got them all running.
Okay, Gomez is still counting. What are we up to?
I think I calculated out 42.
Wow. Okay, we have any credits before?
Up to 50.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we're moving up. Our goal is 50 by the end of this season.
Yeah. And we use about 20 some, basically depends what Northlands does.
We augmented 40 acre feet for the last 2.
40, we did, okay. So we got an extra 10 acre feet. Which we can sell, which will help, because the fund needs help. I think we all know that. Anybody else? No? No executive session, I guess what's up? You got a motion by Nick Hill to adjourn, second by Rick Jennings, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, meeting adjourned.
The 2 you.